Hello everyone, Just Goran here, and welcome to another real-life zoo tour. Today we are visiting Best Zoo, which is not necessarily the best zoo, which we'll see. And I'm here joined by ZHS Plays. Wow, already ruined it. Good to have you, man.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So yeah, we are getting started right away. We saw some pelicans just now. Some both pink-backed and great white pelicans, and now we are getting right away into the walking route of this zoo. We just passed the sign that has the park rules on it, and here we are gonna go straight into some aviaries. So yeah, Best Zoo is a pretty old zoo. It is not the biggest of zoos, I think, mostly because because of restrictions put onto them, like they weren't allowed to expand the zoo until recently, which we'll see at the end as well. They're building a new entrance area. Over here we have the kakariki. Beautiful little bird. But yeah, what's interesting about Best Zoo is that it actually started out as a pet store way back in the day.
A pet store?
And
wow.
They were an exotic pet store, so they had these exotic animals you could purchase. But over time, they noticed that they had a lot of window shoppers, a lot of people looking at the animals without buying anything. So they started to charge admission and slowly stopped selling animals and just became a full-on zoo that way. So yeah, that's kind of a fun little backstory, which is always nice to think about for your Planet Zoo projects. Like, what is the backstory of my zoo and how does that affect the zoo itself? So yeah, we just saw a Vietnamese pheasant, and here we have the very well-known cotton-top tamarin. These are kind of staple animals for like a more roadside zoo. Like, you pretty much see them in any one of them. They're small, easy to take care of, I assume. So yeah. For ZHS, what should I call you actually? Maybe we should have discussed that before.
I pronounce it ZSH, being English, but ZSH is also fine. I get called that a lot.
But yeah.
So where exactly are we? Where is this zoo?
We are in Best, and that is a small town next to the city of Eindhoven in the south of the Netherlands. And yeah, that's why it's called Best Zoo, because of the place name, not necessarily. It's not a reward or a title or something like that.
I thought it was like a ridiculously hyperbolic name for a fairly small zoo.
Yeah.
I like how they hit you straight away with some really nice birds, and then the cutest of the monkeys. That's a good way to start a zoo. Yeah, the gold-headed lion tamarin, a really nice one. Here, one of my favorite owls, the snowy owl. Everyone loves owls, right? Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I really like this little street. A bunch of aviaries, and I gotta say the birds have some really nice spaces. There's some nice decor as well, with some like castle things that the snowy owl's in. And here we have the Kookaburra we just passed. I still to this day haven't seen one laugh, which is a bummer. I don't think I've ever even seen one, to be honest. They must be pretty rare in zoos in England, I would guess. I don't recall ever seeing one.
Yeah, we could look it up. It'll be fun. Here we have the Sovereign Screamer. I think that one got modded into Planet Zoo pretty recently. Which is always nice. And, I'm not sure which one this is. The grey peacock pheasant, according to my notes. And
they seem to have quite small indoor areas, considering it's in the Netherlands, so it's not going to be like incredibly hot all year round or anything.
Yeah, that's kind of also a thing with roadside zoo. You often see just these like pretty regular garden houses almost that serve as the indoor areas. And we can see some kind of squirrel monkey in the back there. But yeah, I do like these big dome-like aviaries. They have like a nice amount of space.
Yeah, I think they're really good. They look cheap in a good way. If not cheap as in bad, but you know what I mean. As in, you don't have to spend a huge amount of money, but you've actually got a really good domed space for the animals.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to go crazy with theming or anything like that. Just some curved poles and some mesh, and the animals have got a nice space.
Yeah, that's actually a lot for this zoo. Just a lot of these kind of aviaries and exhibits, which is fine. It provides, like, it's a good enough view. That, by the way, was the king vulture, which is a really cool looking bird. Yeah, we have some ibis. Over here we've got the southern hornbill, and that one's actually in the same aviary as the king vulture. So here I almost walked straight ahead because I thought it was a path, but that's actually a staff area. So
backstage, they need a staff path there, so you can't get in there.
Yeah, but it makes the path so ugly. But yeah, here we have a bunch of ibis, the scarlet ibis, the buff-necked ibis, and the white-faced ibis are all in here, as well as some mandarin duck. So a bunch of really nice birds. I'm a big fan of ibis, especially. Yeah. I think the scarlet ibis is still my favorite. I don't know if that's basic. I just think they have a very pretty color.
Yeah, I think there's got to be a reason why they're in. You always see them in zoos. Just, everyone, how can you not like that bird?
Yeah, and over here we got a really nice hornbill. This is the Blyth's hornbill, as well as some white-striped dorsipsis. Wow. Or the greater forest wallaby. And there's also masked lapwing, which is a type of bird, I think. But yeah, look at that hornbill.
Yeah, nice.
Super nice. So this was recorded a while ago, so you will see, like, not all the trees are fully grown. This was actually recorded on the same day as the Zizou video that came out a few months ago. I'm not sure. But yeah, I did a double dip that day. I had some time left after Zizou, and this was on the way home, so I just...
Was that the one with the red pandas, like, at the entrance that you see before you even go in, or was that...
That was Zoo Park Overloan.
Okay.
Zizou is a little bit more janky as well. It's not part of the ESDA. but they're getting there. They're making some nice habitats recently. But yeah, we also saw some indoor viewing of that hornbill. So that's actually kind of what I like about this zoo, is that even though, like, the indoor areas aren't like the most advanced or anything, they do provide you with nice windows and looks inside to view the animals when they're not out, which is always appreciated. This is also one of the zoos, and that's actually maybe kind of leaning into what you were talking about earlier. They do close during... No, I don't think they completely close during the winter, but during the winter they're only open on Saturdays and stuff like that. So I guess they do acknowledge, like, yeah, it's not as interesting during that time. It's not worth being open as much.
I was also thinking about just how much space the animals would have when the weather's really cold. Obviously, some of them won't care, but some of them will, and it seemed a bit small. What are these guys?
These are the Jacob sheep. The four-horned goat.
They are pretty impressive.
They are really cool.
Small.
I think this used to be a like petting zoo area you could actually go inside of. But I think somewhere around COVID that all got closed off a bit. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah. Over here we got one of our lost aviaries of this little street, and we got actually some really cool looking birds. This is the I think this is the Himalayan monal. One of these is, and I think this is the little bitten, or the lilac-breasted. I think this is the lilac-breasted roller, seeing as how they have a lilac breast. Yeah. And this one had a really beautiful colors as it was flying around. But yeah, look at that pheasant over there. Just those shining colors. Absolutely gorgeous. And, a little bit of theming, or at least a little bit of decoration with the little castle and stuff like that. Then up ahead we actually do have a petting zoo, but it's closed off from this side, but we will be able to enter from the other side. So we'll see that in a little bit. We can see a zebu walking around in the background. But yeah, so we're kind of coming up on the halfway point here, or at least the halfway, like, knot, I guess. Like, the zoo has a bit of a loop, like 2 loops with a joint in the middle, basically. Yeah, we have an emu. Lovely.
They are so weird, in a good way.
I love them. I will surrender to them. They can win the war before it starts. But yeah, so over here you can see, like, there's this 2 paths on either side of these bushes, because this is the one part where you kind of have to walk back and forth as you're going through the zoo. And I'm not exactly sure what the layout and walking route is going to be once they finish their new entrance, because the new entrance is being built kind of on the other side of the zoo. So I wonder what that's gonna be like. But yeah, over here.
So is this in like a park or something? Is it in a larger park or?
No, it's kind of just off the side next to some farms.
Oh, okay.
Kind of on the side of the little town. It's quite out of the way, but it's a decent location. You're kind of away from civilization. It's kind of weird though, because as you walk up to it, like, the entrance is just across the street from some houses. So it's always got a bit of a weird feel. Yeah. Here we've got a little aviary, which is closed off, of course, due to the avian flu. But normally you would be able to walk through there. There's a bunch of little birds in there. And yeah, we're about to get to that petting zoo. But first, the main attraction of this zoo. Here we've got the Leopard Habitat. And yeah, this is not great. I'll be honest. We've got these 2 cages. They are joint, but yeah, this is for the Sri Lankan leopard, and it's fine, almost. Maybe
it's kind of basic.
If it weren't for the fact that they have several of them, as you can see, here we have about 2. We'll see even more later. I think I counted 7 or 8 leopards, which is absolutely ridiculous.
No way.
I think they may have had offspring the year before or something like that, but it was a ridiculous amount, and it was kind of depressing because, yeah, these 2 cages, there's a third one on the other side, but that's about all the space that they have. So it's not that much. It really is not that much.
Is the third one like joined to the first 2 or separate?
I don't know. Like, it might be joined through the backstage, through the indoor area, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's
but yeah, anyway, let's go to the fun little petting zoo. Let's turn away from that depressing thing for a moment. And look at some fun animals in here. So we have the white stork, the demoiselle crane, which is a lovely little crane. We can see those both on the left here. Just kind of vibing.
Yeah.
It's also nice to see all the protection around the trees, of course, stuff like that. It's always good to take into account. And I was surprised. Like, I don't think I've ever been in a place where you can walk up to the demoiselle crane like that. I think there has always been some kind of barrier. But yeah, and here we have a little miniature donkey, which was very excited. Probably thought I had food for him. I had to disappoint him. I just gave him some pets. But yeah, I do like me some...
head rubs nearly as good as food, right?
I mean, this is nice. I do like me some petting zoos. I am of the opinion that maybe they're not the best to have inside of a zoo, because you don't want to send the message like, oh yeah, it's okay to pet the animals, because yes, it's okay to pet these animals maybe, but the rest of them you should definitely not touch.
Yeah. Sometimes you get really cool animals in children's zoo though. Sometimes I'll skip the children's zoo and then discover later that, you know, they had, like, outside of the petting area they might have. I was at London Zoo last week, and I think the time before I went, I skipped the children's zoo, and then when I went in there, they had, as well as all the sort of goats and pigs and stuff, they had African porcupines and a coati in there as well.
Oh, that's really cool.
In habitats, and I mean, who doesn't love coatis? They're so cute.
So cute.
And yeah, normally I just skip the children's zoo, and I've learned not to.
I actually wonder, now that the UK has left the EU, if they're gonna be able to keep coatis in zoos, because the EU is phasing them out. But I wonder if the UK might decide not to.
Well, because they're not rare enough, or
because they're an invasive species.
Right. Okay.
So there's like a list of invasive species that are no longer allowed to be kept in zoos in Europe. So they're allowed to be kept for the time being, but no longer bred. And once they're all dead, then that's going to be it for like coatis, raccoons, nutria, all stuff like that. So
that's
it'll be interesting
crazy,
to see how that goes.
You're just assuming that the zoo's going to have escapes.
Yeah.
I feel like some of the really top zoos could probably point to them not having escapes or something. But yeah, I guess we can ignore that for the
maybe. I don't know.
It depends.
Maybe the English government is equally concerned because you are an island. So it would be completely your own problem.
Yeah, true. I'm surprised if they'd be concerned about that, though. I'm surprised if they even knew what that was. But anyway, let's avoid politics on this video.
A few indoor peaks again. The glasses are a little dirty, but yeah, here we have a guinea pig habitat. It's just a fun little thing, I guess. But what I am pretty happy with here is the meerkat habitat. I think it is definitely an interesting one. They've got their own unique thing. Yeah, this is... I keep looking at it. Like, it's like a car fire. You can't look away from it.
Stop it. Move the camera.
But yeah, here we've got a little tunnel that you can take through the meerkat habitat, which I do think is
this is
quite
great,
cool.
Kids.
And then you've got these little glass floors that the meerkat can like run under and get to this little area in the middle. I think that's absolutely lovely. Like, the habitat itself is not that special. I mean, as far as meerkat habitat is concerned, I think once you've seen... I think I've seen like 2 or 3 different kinds of meerkat habitats. And like there's like 3 different variations of meerkat habitat, and then you've seen them all basically. But yeah, this one does give it its own little spin with that tunnel, which I do think is really cool. Yeah, you can
they have something similar at London Zoo actually, where the meerkat habitat is fairly standard. It's quite bigger than this. But then they have a tunnel you crawl through. In the middle, there's like a perspex dome that you sort of pop out of, like a meerkat, and then you're sort of in the middle of it, like an aquarium. I thought that was cool. Yeah,
you see that pretty often as well. Yeah, I thought this was slightly different, like seeing them crawl underneath
I've not seen
you.
This.
That is really cool.
You could do a habitat like that for moles.
That would be cool. So yeah. What I'm always surprised at, especially at roadside zoo, is how like easy it would be to take a meerkat with you. Like, you can just lean over the barrier and just grab one.
How many did you take?
None. I mean, they have so many. I'm sure they wouldn't miss 1 or 2.
They'd probably do an annual species count. You'd get away with it for months.
But yeah,
who's this guy?
So here we have a nice little playground, and then here we have the other 2 habitats. So one of these is still for the leopards. You can see in the back, that's where the backstage is. So I don't know if it connects to the other 2 that we already saw, but I definitely, like, later on I counted 4 in here and then another 3 or 4 in the other one. So they definitely have way too many of them. And then on the other side here,
habitat in the 1930s.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, on the other side here we have a screaming jaguar, which is slightly concerning as well, perhaps. But yeah, this is another one that's like, maybe if these 2 jaguars had both of those cages, it would be slightly better. Still not great, probably. Maybe if the 2 jaguars had all 4 cages, it would be pretty good, actually.
That would be better, yeah.
But,
and maybe just a tiny bit of grass.
I mean, they put a nice little waterfall. They got like a water feature and a stream. That's something. And look, they've got a black one because... Cool.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. I would love to see what the backstage looks like over there, to be honest, but I did not have the balls to ask. It's always fun to get backstage peeks, but I usually keep it at peaks. I've yet to get full-on backstage tours. But yeah, what I do have to say is like they do get offspring here for quite a number of the animals, so that's gotta count for something. But yeah, that was kind of interesting over there. We saw like a goldfish tank integrated into like a bench area.
Oh, was that what it was? Yeah, the video quality just dropped while I was watching it. I'm not sure what it was.
Yeah,
but it looks cool. It looks pretty good the way it was integrated.
It is like a fish tank. I don't know if it's actually goldfish in there. There's no real sign or anything, but yeah. So speaking of backstage peaks, here we got a little one. So we can see some barrels, a little bit of equipment, ladders, and all sorts of things. It is that same building, which has some stalls inside. So yeah, here we have another one of those invasive species that we were talking about earlier. This is the raccoon, which
you won't believe this. I've never seen a raccoon.
Oh my god!
In my life. Again, maybe we don't have them in British zoos.
No zoos.
Maybe they're not allowed, but I don't think I've ever seen one.
I mean, up until pretty recently, I was in the same boat. But yeah, at this point I've visited a fair number of zoos that do have them. So I can scratch that one off the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is quite a lovely habitat, to be honest. I really like the bit of water, the rock features. I really quite like it. And on the other side over here, you would think like, oh, it's just a bunch of storks, but it's actually a Jaguar stork. Don't know what that means, but it means they're special.
I've not heard of them. They look nice though.
Yeah, and it's a nice little
pretty big habitat as well.
Yeah, no, that habitat. I think they might occasionally open that up for the wallabies as well. We'll see that habitat from the other side. It's actually one of my favorite views in this zoo. But first, here we have the African spurred tortoise, which got a little indoor area out there and a little outdoor yard here. And on this side, we start getting some more monkeys. We got the tuft-toothed capuchin and the coati. So, speaking of coatis earlier, it was relevant after all. The zoo has them. Yeah, here we can see more of that backstage building we saw earlier. There's probably a bunch of backstage in there, though I won't know what. And then here we have... I'm actually not sure. I couldn't see the sign. I think this might be like a zebu as well, or I don't know. I skipped past it a little bit too quickly to be able to tell, but
some sort of hoofstock. It's fine.
Some sort of hoofstock. Yeah. Who cares? We're here for the real wild animals. So yeah, you got some signs for the coati and the capuchin, and this is quite a nice habitat as well. They have quite a bit of space, nice climbing frames.
Yeah, a lot of climbing.
The fencing and stuff is not the best, but you gotta cut them some slack. Like, if you don't have a lot of space as a zoo, you can't really, like, moats as a form of perimeter take up so much space. So this is often really the best you can do. And if you don't,
for a coati or something, that's a bit over the top.
Yeah, and if you don't have that much space either, it's like, or that much budget, like doing a lot of glass viewing is also really expensive, and it keeps, like, it takes a lot of maintenance to keep those windows clean. So sometimes
I always think, I don't know where you stand on this, but I always think that the I prefer mesh or steel or something like that to glass. If it's so high that you can't see over it and it's like a whole wall, I prefer mesh because there's no actual barrier if you look through it, if you see what I mean. Whereas glass is like a complete barrier between you and the animal.
I get what you mean. I'm a little in between. Like, I think my opinion is a bit skewed from recording so much, because I hate recording through mesh. It is the worst. My camera always focuses on the mesh instead of the animal.
yeah. It's tricky.
That stuff is really annoying. Also, by the way, this is the rhesus macaque that we're looking at. Over here, they've got a nice overpass over the path to get into like another part of their habitat, which is pretty cool. You can see them using here. Yeah, that's pretty neat. But yeah, glass is nice if it's done well, because the thing about glass is you need to have the viewing area be darker as the area you're looking into, or else it's going to have a lot of reflections. It's going to give you a bad time. You're not going to be able to see anything. So that's
you've got to be there at the right time of day as well to avoid the glare and stuff like that.
And it has to be kept clean. So those are all things that, make glass difficult. But if it's used well, it can create some of the most immersive habitats that I've ever seen, which I hope to be showing you guys in the future. There's a lot of really good examples in one of the zoos we're about to go to. So
I feel like if we ignore the leopards, if we feel like the further you go around the zoo, the better the habitats are getting. Yeah,
definitely. So over here, I think those are the spider monkeys, the black-faced spider monkeys. And we also have the black howler monkey on here. And these again have a little thing that brings them over the viewing area into their actual habitat, which is on this side. And here we have a little teaser of an upcoming thing that we're going to talk about. A few weeks before this video was recorded, we had a lot of storms and high winds. So here you can see some of the bamboo has been snapped by that wind. And we'll see a little bit later some other horrible damage that that wind has caused. But yeah, here we have the spider monkeys again, who were very interested in me, climbing all the way around. Yeah, for those who don't know, I have a bit of a weird microphone attached to my camera, and sometimes it scares the animals, most times it makes them very curious. Like, what is that guy holding?
Has it got like a windproof cover on it or something? Like the bit, yeah.
Yep. So, almost past it, but over here is actually a pretty nice big yard. This is for, I think, more zebu, as well as the Bactrian camel. I don't think there's any outside. But we can also see in the background there, that is the new entrance building that they're building. So it's still under construction, but that is going to be the future entrance of this zoo. I actually wonder how far along it is now that the summer's almost here.
It's pretty big compared to what they've got at the moment.
Exactly, yeah. A lot of money went into that, and it didn't go into improving the leopard habitats. Yeah, no, they're actually getting giraffe. So that's why part of the reason why that building is so big, because it's also the Giraffe Stall, which I think is crazy. Like, I did not imagine it possible for like a non-EAZA zoo to get a big ticket animal like that. But apparently there is some market for it somewhere or something. I don't know how these zoos acquired animals.
I think with giraffes, most of the ones in zoos are hybrids, aren't they? They can't really be used for breeding programs, so maybe they're easier to get hold of.
Yeah. So yeah, this is definitely this is the Wallaby Habitat, and this is one of my favorite views of the zoo. Just, I think the framing of this habitat, like with the building and all the foliage around it, I think it is very beautiful. So
I like how similar it looks to like an actual house. Like they live there. Yeah. They've got a mortgage and they're quite happy with it.
Oh, they're better along in life than me. But yeah, over here we can kind of see more of that construction work taking place. You can also see these are the signs for that big yard. But yeah, I think this is somehow going to connect the walking route up to that new entrance. So I really wonder what that's going to look like in the future. But yeah, here we got some of the newest habitats. This is for the wombat, which in the few times I've been here, I've never seen. A very elusive animal.
Are they nocturnal or not? I can't remember.
Probably, like so many animals are, especially these smaller ones. But yeah, I've heard that in Plankendal before it passed away, the wombat was also almost never seen.
Right.
And yeah, it's a hard animal to spot, so to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is
a burrow cam.
Exactly. This is in the back we can even see some more habitats being built there, but those aren't accessible yet, so I'm sure those will be accessible once that new entrance is done. So yeah, you can see me literally like hesitate, like which way should I go. But I think this is another side of that house that we saw, which I think has a few more animals. I think maybe the wallaby can just pick whichever yard they want to be in or something.
Right.
I'm not exactly sure. But we'll see this habitat from another point of view in a second. First, we've got some more of those like aviary netted over structures. This one I think is a fair bit older than the other two we'll see. And this one has the serval, maybe? I'm not exactly sure. Oh yeah, you can see the weird thing on my camera pretty clearly in that reflection there. But yeah, I think this one has the serval. So yeah, this one's a little bit lower, which makes sense because a serval doesn't need that much height. Actually, now that I think of it, I think the serval's a bit further along, so I'm not exactly sure which one is in here. Oh, it does say serval. Well, oh yeah, wait, no, I'm mixing up stuff. We're about to see a caracal as well. I always get those two confused. Two small African cats.
Yeah.
So yeah, here's another view of that habitat from another perspective. And yeah, this is these are slightly taller things. I think this one is for the Fusa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Wow.
So that's
they are really cool.
They are really cool. They're not that common in zoos as well. I think this is one of the few zoos in the Netherlands that has them. So
I think a lot of people don't know what they are as well. They're quite a
I literally
animal, I think.
I literally got asked someone who saw Madagascar. Like they're in Madagascar. Like they're an antagonist.
Okay.
But people literally ask me like, "Are those real or are they made up?" I'm like, "No, they're real. You can see them. You can see them at this zoo." But yeah, here we can see the caracal.
Wow.
So she was a bit distraught because the vets were taking out one of them and put it in a little transport cage. So this one was probably a bit confused as what was going on to the other one. But she got all the way up to the glass. Yeah, they are feisty. Yeah, then on this side, this is their habitat. So they actually do have quite a bit of climbing. I don't know how much they actually climb or if that is just there like as a default exhibit. Just put in whatever we have at the moment. I don't know.
Yeah, so it works for loads of different animals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here we have another awesome species of goat. This is the Gurgentana, I think is what they're called. They got these spiral horns, which are really cool.
They are really weird. Really fluffy as well.
Mm-hmm.
I like them.
There's so many weird animals that you've never heard of. That's what I like about just going to zoos. Like you see something new every time.
Yeah.
And if you really take the time to actually look at everything and try to find everything, like I do for these videos, then you take in a lot more. You also spend a lot more time at zoos because of that, which is quite nice. Yeah, here we have some black swans, and that's the last view of that part of that habitat. So, yeah, that's pretty much that loop. So now we are gonna come back to those leopard habitats. Hooray!
I've missed them.
Yeah. You got to make sure that they're still there. So over here we see nature taking place. This was kind of like at the start of spring. Yeah, this was kind of just to see okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're gonna go around the corner, and we got 1, 2, and I think there's another one somewhere on the left. So that's like at least 7 or 8. Like it's not too
so many.
chuffed about that. Again, I think they just had offspring like pretty recently, and they might have just grown up and they're gonna move out soon or something. But I don't know. It doesn't completely excuse it. Here we got that aviary. So it has the golden pheasant, the budgeriga, or the common parakeet, the monk parakeet, and the white-cheeked turaco. But yeah, without being able to go inside, it's kind of hard to see all of them. You can kind of see a lot.
Is this still a thing, or was this because you filmed this months ago?
It's still a thing. It's crazy how long the avian flu has persisted this year. Like, aviaries are still... I think we're only just now starting to get to a point where things are loosening up a little bit. Like, I read the other day that the government has set up like a zone system where like every province can be like, oh, this is now a red zone or a green zone. So that tells you
we've just not had that in the UK in terms of restrictions or anything like that.
Oh,
I was in a walkthrough in London Zoo last week, African bird safari.
I think the biggest difference is how much the Netherlands, how much poultry we have. Like there's so many chicken companies and stuff that like tens of thousands of chickens have had to be put down over the course of this avian flu. Like pretty much more than any avian flu combined. This year's avian flu has killed more chicken than all of them combined. It's been crazy. But yeah, we saw some hornbill a moment ago, silvery-cheeked hornbill, and here we are at the Ringtail Lemur, which have another one of those little aviaries and also a little indoor view. This is a pretty nice view. They also always pretty curious. Pretty much every time I've been here, they always come up to the window to check you out. But yeah, here you can definitely see the issue with glass. Like the reflection is making it really hard to look inside.
They're always really good value animals in zoos, though.
Yeah.
Always curious and on the move and very cute, obviously.
Just fun, yeah. There's a reason they're in pretty much every zoo.
Yeah, if it doesn't have ring-tailed lemurs and meerkats, it's not a zoo.
Gotta add that to the requirements. Yeah. Oh, look at that sun. Such a pretty little thing. The fur shader is so good.
Yeah, I'm loving the backlighting, the halo.
Angelic lemur.
That's like how I take all my Planet Zoo screenshots. Just point the camera directly at the sun, getting an animal in the way.
I'm so upset when the sun doesn't come up in the shot. I'm like, oh no, pick a different time of day. No, it doesn't show. Disappointment. I gotta move my entire habitat now. So yeah, here we got somewhere back. I think this is for the Asian small-clawed otter? No, the banded mongoose. Almost. I think the small-clawed otter comes after this one. But yeah, pretty standard banded mongoose habitat over here.
What's the sign in the middle? What was that saying? Or do you not notice?
Couldn't tell. I noticed the sign, but I don't know what it read.
Are these the same wallabies as before?
Yeah, these are the white striped dorcups. I think dorfuses. I think I misspelled it in my nose. Or the greater forest wallaby. But yeah, this is that same aviary that has all the ibis and stuff.
Oh yeah.
All the way around. We're almost back at the entrance. But we are going to look at a tragedy for a moment, because I mentioned the strong winds the other day. So over here, we used to have the greatest binturong habitat of all time.
No.
So I have a picture from the last time I was here.
Oh,
you can see 2 logs. This was the binturong habitat.
Wow.
Even you actually based his habitat in Tarmashadi on this habitat right here. So
I mean, the viewing looks good. But now it's not there.
I've never seen them outside, and now it's gone.
Now you never will.
Now I never will. It's so sad. Yeah. I think the winds must have just knocked down one of the trees, and that's it.
Bye bye binturongs.
Bye bye. Yeah, really a bummer. I mean, I'm not sure how much the binturong loved that habitat, but as you said, it would offer great viewing if they were outside.
What was the rest of it? Is this part of it? That we're looking at now?
Don't know.
Okay.
Maybe? Like, this is no, I don't think so, because they'd be able to climb out of this, wouldn't they? So I think it was just that and then the indoor part.
Right.
But yeah, this is the small-clawed otter habitat that we just saw. And over here we've got a bunch more aviaries. I think this is the Satyr Tragopan. And there's also a Chacoan Mara in here, which is a little hidden, but I think I was able to see it.
Yeah, Maras are really cute.
Yeah, they're lovely. They're a pretty stable zoo animal as well. Like, you see them quite often. Yeah, look, it's very hidden.
Nice.
And yeah, so now we get to a few more things. We've got another aviary with a bunch of parrots, grey parrots, blue and yellow macaw, Chilean tinamou. So just loud stuff, basically. And then on the other side, so here we have kind of an overview of all those aviaries. And then we have the little building over there, which also has African spur tortoises, which we saw earlier on as well. We saw a big one. I think this is where they keep the ones that
that's cute.
Are a little smaller. Because, yeah, you wouldn't be able to fit a fully grown one in here.
It wouldn't have much room.
And yeah, this is, I think, it's that same aviary we just saw. Just looking at the signs for it. And then we have a bunch of stuff. It's pretty packed together. That's the one thing with these zoos. Like, they definitely try to make the most use of their space, which doesn't give you a lot of breathing room in between looking at habitats. It's just you're constantly being engaged, basically. Yeah, this is that aviary we've already seen. As we can see from that sign, it actually also has a little turtle in it. The Cumberland slider, which you see pretty often in little ponds like this. I think they just do pretty well in our climate, that's why. But yeah, here we have the mandarin ducks.
That's always nice.
Always nice, lovely species.
It's amazing how I can basically read the signs, even though it's a different language. They sound different, so different from English, but when you see it written down, I guess we stole a lot from Dutch or something.
Or we just both stole a lot from French.
Yeah, from the same.
I mean,
French,
it's
German,
all
Latin, etc. But some of them you can almost just read them as if they were English, even though all the words are different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here we have the yellow-throated martin, which also have
that's cute.
Quite a lot of climbing space and stuff like that. Lovely little animal.
Yeah, I've not seen that particular species before. I like it.
Yeah, it's really nice. Anything with like a nice vibrant color is always fun to see. And yeah, here we have the striped skunk. Or maybe we don't. I don't know where it is. It should be there. Yeah. This path kind of connects up, or it would connect up with where we started, but they've put down a little fence there, so I don't think you can actually continue. And then this is a pretty cute little thing. You've got this wooden house with a bunch of windows into it. Here we can actually see a southern tamandua, which
cute.
is quite rare species, I think. You don't see it that often, and I'm kind of surprised at like the simplicity of the habitat they have for it. You'd think they give it a little bit more like height to climb around in, kind of like the Fusa and stuff like that. But
I mean, they are like completely arboreal, aren't they? Tamandua.
Pretty much, yeah. They love climbing around. Here we have a ball python, but I think they took it out because they used it for a little birthday party.
Of course, I never have a party without a python.
Party python. And then this is pretty lovely as well. It's a little mice habitat. For the it says the city mouse. And then in the middle of it we also have a bearded dragon, which I think you can barely see it. I think it is somewhere in there. I'm not sure where. But what you can see... Oh, no, we're going to look away from it first. Never mind. Here's me trying to have a cohesive story. Yeah, earlier, like at the start of the video, we saw a squirrel monkey, which is actually in this. It's just a common squirrel monkey. But yeah, the reflection is making this impossible to see, so let's turn around again. So here's something really cool with the mice. They actually have a little Christmas city, because it's a city mouse. And yeah, they can just kind of vibe there.
That's kind of cute, actually.
And then they've got these little these little tunnels on the outside, so you can actually see them crawl around between the little spaces, so you can actually see them.
Ah, that's great. I didn't realise that was translucent when I first saw it. Yeah, that's a great idea.
That's really cool.
I've seen that done with like leafcutter ants, but not mice. That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah. So yeah, and then we're kind of back up. So over here is the kind of backstage entrance to that building. Looks like it also has the indoor area for the pelicans, which we saw at the start over here. And yeah, we're back at the entrance. So that was pretty much all of Best Zoo.
I quite enjoyed that. I thought that was... I was a bit worried, well, you know, when I saw the sign. And what you told me about the leopards. But yeah, there's some nice stuff in there. Yeah, it's very low budget, but that doesn't always mean
animal
bad.
births signs over here, which of course they're very proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think this zoo definitely has it has its ups and downs. Let's put it that way. High highs, low lows.
What's the entrance fee? Can you remember?
It's pretty roughly low. It's like around €10 basically.
Okay.
So
It's
really quite doable.
That is very cheap for a zoo.
Yeah, no, most roadside zoos are around that price. I actually went to another one today, and it was something similar to that. Here's one trying to have a great escape at the biking stall. So before we end off, let's have a little look at the construction site. So here we can see that new entrance. On the left over there, we've got the Giraffe Stall. Of course, you can recognize that tall door. And I think through the middle here is going to be kind of the main entrance and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's looking pretty cool.
High end.
I'm curious to see what this evolves to and what the rest of the future of the zoo is like. If they can continue to do higher budget stuff like this, that would be pretty nice to see. So we can have a bit less of this and a bit more of that, maybe. So, ZHS or ZSH, crap.
You got it. You got it.
Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
It was a lot of fun. Of course, everyone, if you don't know, this man also makes Planet Zoo videos. He's doing a pretty banger job. He's got some lovely, lovely habitats and series. So feel free to check him out and give him a sub as well. And
thank you very much for having me.
I think we should look away before we get demonetized. So thanks for joining me.
This is going to get censored on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. I'll see everyone in the next zoo tour. Got a lot of stuff in the pipeline that I'm still working on, so I hope you look forward to it. Bye-bye.
See ya.